And away we go.
All right.
Well, as usual, we have a lot of really, really good questions from people on the YouTube channel, and so I'll just start with something and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Completely impromptu. None of this. We don't study anything. We don't look
No,
up at
no,
how it wouldn't work out well that way. It is what it is, and we get reamed sometimes, and sometimes we don't.
well, I never stick to the subject anyway.
But I have to say, we get more wonderful comments. Okay, I don't want to just focus on the bad ones because that's not right. It's not fair on the people that say, they're saying really nice things.
No.
Um,
Thank everybody for your birthday salutations. I really appreciate that. This is the best way to do that because on my Facebook site, so I couldn't. It's like too many people, and you can't thank everybody.
Oh my goodness, you poor thing.
No, but I mean, there was a way to do it, and it just dawned on me. This is a good way to reach a lot of people, and I really appreciate it.
True.
Yeah.
So we did mention, Paul McCartney, and you were talking about when George let you hear the single that he got from Paul.
Yeah.
You didn't know who it was.
I didn't know. I didn't know who it was.
But I gotta say, Paul McCartney is a great songwriter.
Yep.
He has written
Absolutely.
just the coolest songs, the greatest songs. I mean, you could go right down the line.
Eric said that before he came up with Yesterday, he was going around singing scrambled eggs.
Right. Yesterday.
Yeah, actually, that's for real.
Actually, yesterday you were saying the same thing.
Yeah, but I was like, it's true though. It's like really, that happens sometimes. Like with George, when we did My Sweet Lord, he didn't rip anybody off. That just happened, I was a part of that, and I called him down on it after we recorded it. We went into the control room and was listening back, and I went, "That's just like that song, by who was it? The Chiffons or somebody." I said, "My Sweet Lord," he's so fine. I want you to remind. And I went, "Wow, that's awesome," And,
awesome.
Well, yeah, I was innocent to the whole thing,
Right. No.
And he said, "Oh, wow, I could see it, and I could feel the room just kind of go." But I always spoke out of school, but
spoke your mind.
I spoke my mind,
Still do.
But it just hit me, like me whistling the. Like that kind of thing. I was like, on my own. It wasn't something that was premeditated. But think about it. There are only, 12 notes, about from C to C. Every song that's ever been written, period, is from between these two C's. About that much space, depending on how big the paper is, or how big your piano or harpsichord or whatever the hell you're playing. So there's only that. And all of these melodies and ideas and all of this is all in the universe. It's all floating around. It's like Keith Richards talking about it, him as a songwriter, himself as a songwriter. He says he's an antenna, and he's an antenna. And so I understand that. But it's really just being dialed in with the creative principle, and so that's where George was, and this thing came, and he said, "Well, I'll take care of it." He said, "I'll cover him when the time is right."
Phil Spector said he would, didn't he?
Huh?
Phil Spector said he would take care of it because he produced that record.
Well, I thought he did. I don't think he produced that one.
Oh, sorry.
I don't believe he produced that one. I thought he did, and I called him down on it. I said, you produced it. But he didn't. I checked that out. But it's like, it was during that Ronette era, right. and everything had that big wall.
Well, that's the very reason why artists don't want to listen to music.
No,
You cannot send anybody music. Don't even try it with us. Don't send it. because we will not listen to it.
No.
For the very reason that you could subliminally
Yeah.
pick it up, you know.
Absolutely.
And next thing you know, boom.
Knock on the door. You know what I mean?
Of course, unless you're the Stones.
No, we don't have television or anything like that. I was talking to a friend of ours the other day in New York, and a guitar player, and I told him, I said, oh, he was going on, he said, I'm addicted to news. I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is turn on the news, you know. I'm like, hell, I haven't watched the news since the Gulf War. And we hadn't had a television since they went digital.
It's dangerous.
And he went, what?
Dangerous.
I said, yeah. I said, you don't need all that because it's out there in the ether anyway, you know. Somebody's going to tell you the current stat. Well, drawback being sometimes if you're not on top of things, you wind up in a deep freeze, you know, and you're not really prepared.
Right.
But our lives isn't geared around television or what's going down. You can't keep away from what's the bad news is, I try to look for what's going on. I try to find something new and interesting, out there that's really happening in a positive way. Because there's enough of the other stuff, you don't need to go looking because it's poured all over you all the time.
So can you do you recall any of the songs that were written directly for Patty on there? Somebody mentioned "What Is Life."
No, well, you know what? I don't think that was about her at all. No, George's whole thing was in that whole spiritual vein. But I thought that Behind That Locked Door was about her. At first, I thought it was a Bob Dylan song. But then I looked and I said, no, George wrote that. And it must have been about, Patty. Why you still crying? The pain is all through. It's only the short time to be here with you. And love the offer. It's worth waiting for us. Let out your heart, please, please, from behind that locked door. Wow, yeah. I haven't ever repeated those lyrics, ever. But see, that's how powerful that is, and it's something that's that important. It can stay with you for your entire life, subliminally, without you even trying to remember to keep it or anything. Because that touched me. That song really touched me, and I didn't even know who the heck wrote it, for real. But and I'm not playing on it. That's Billy Preston playing the organ.
What about "What Is Life"?
Oh, I'm playing on that. Yeah. I'm playing organ on that. Down, 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 down. Eric had this fuzz tone,
Do you recall George giving a house to the Hare Krishnas?
Yeah, I went to that guy's birthday party with Donovan.
That house?
At the very house. Yeah, he gave me this big thing. Yeah, and it was the guy. He was the main guru, and he had girls literally. He was sitting up on a pillow, and we're all sitting out there on the ground on little pillows. He had a big pillow, and we're sitting there. Invited to his birthday party, so I went, of course, and he's up there talking about what is love. He says, what is love? And he had a dot in the head, and had these girls literally peeling grapes for him right here at his feet. This old dude, he looked like he was 104,
Was George going along with this stuff?
George wasn't there, Yeah, he's going along with it. He gave him this massive manor house. But anyways, he's going, what is love? He says, I give George a flower petal, and he gives me this beautiful place. That's his love. And I went, no, that's tax write-off. That's what that is.
Free.
That's what I figured
mansion.
it was, I figured, there ain't that much love in that Hare Krishna thing. Then I went back to the United States, and I got off the plane in New York, and Here's a couple of these guys who was banging on a gong, and the other one had a drum, and they were bald except for there, and they were just all flippy like this in their gown and everything. And they had these books, and they said, would you like to buy a book? You know, they wanted to give it to me first, then they had to ask you for the money. I said, I'm not going to pay you for this book. I said, I was just left his party yesterday at your main man, not me. And I said, there's his photo right there, you know. Yeah, funny stuff. You don't see those guys anymore. I think they wear suits.
I wonder what happened to all those orange robes.
Probably a great big warehouse somewhere. They're thrown in there. They all got their long hair long now.
I don't want to get us into trouble here, but
no.
they used to be the Hare Krishna. They used to be everywhere.
Yeah,
Actually,
you don't see them anymore. They low key.
So
you know?
one of them just popped in our house one day. Do you remember?
I remember that.
Years ago.
It wasn't that long ago. Yeah. And he's a Hare Krishna guy.
Well, we didn't know it because he didn't wear the robes, but he had the
He
card.
was dressed in street clothes, but
He had the card and he was ready with a book.
he was ready for it, you know.
Anyway, he was a nice guy.
But
he had a motive, okay, and his motive was he wanted to play the guitar to you.
That was it.
Okay, and one night we woke up and it was like 2 a.m. and we heard this guitar blaring
Coming across the valley.
I forgot about that.
About 2 a.m. This electric guitar.
And then he told us the next day, he goes,
he was a Hare Krishna guy.
He said, "Did you hear a guitar last night?" And we were like, yes, we did. It woke us up. That was me.
Yeah.
It was
Well, I
crazy.
mean, you know, a lot of times people go to great lengths.
And-
you know, and I wasn't looking for a guitar player.
Check it out. Remember, he got angry with us because what could we do, you know? Nothing.
No, and I'm not going to
So-
tell him it was great, you know, or
You know,
bad. I'm not saying nothing, you know.
Oftentimes people get really angry because they've got some kind of ulterior motive. And
Yeah, I'm sorry about
Things
all
don't
that, but, you know.
howdy.
I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
But I used to enjoy seeing the Hare Krishna guys out there dancing
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Oh, they were
Everywhere.
great when we were recording. They would just come in at when you least expect it. You know?
I was living in San Francisco, and of course, that was like tons of those guys.
Oh, they were everywhere at one point. You know.
But I think it must have been like the epicenter of.
Yeah. When we were recording All Things Must Pass album, they would just pop in. You know.
Yeah.
You didn't know they were coming, but boy, till the double door kicked open and and I'm jingling them bells and banging on stuff and coming in throwing rose petals and stuff and bags full of cookies.
Do you think that they were trying to get in on the sessions?
No, they were there.
Okay.
And they were supposed to have been there. And however it all worked out, and they would let them in, and it was fine. Things come to a halt for a while, and then they all are around, and it just really was way cool. It seemed like the thing to do, you know.
Yeah.
And those guys, they seemed like they were supposed to have been there.
Right.
There's a guy that I believe that I know it's on one of my sites, and I think he was one of those guys. I hadn't talked to him about it though, but
you might be hearing
he's wearing
about
street
it.
clothes. He'll probably be writing me about it, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk.
I miss
out
them.
of
They
school.
were a friendly group of people, and I kind of miss that whole
Yeah, there was
whole
an
era.
era. That was it. It was about love and.
We need another
peace.
era like that, with
Yeah.
happiness and joy.
I do believe that's going to come around. You know.
I hope so.
You can only wallow in the mire so long. You know.
Yeah. Well. Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Vedu, Vedu Rama, Hare.
You and George, right?
That's me and George. That was a lot of fun. He had all these names of different connotations, and that's just different names of God. And I said, my dad was a Southern Baptist hellfire brimstone preacher, and I said, had one and was scared shitless about it. Scared shitless of this God, Oh man, never just said anything but like, was sitting in the back of the church just going, Whoa, man. Can't fall asleep during this one.
Oh dear. All right.
That's funny stuff.
Thank you.
That's fun.